Okay, so nobody's in the chat yet. I just wanted to make sure the camera's in order before I started talking. It actually looks like I got it straight first try this time, which is also cool. So today we're going to be crocheting some... Hi! We're going to be crocheting some possums today. I have some heads that need some bodies. So, yeah. Before I get started, this pattern I just released yesterday for free on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. And then I'll also put up the written patterns there in my Ko-Fi and Ribblr shop. So the written patterns I spent a lot of time on, so they're really nice. But we're just going to get started. Feel free to let me know if the music's annoying at all. Thank you. Yeah, I wish I had designed these a bit earlier, but it's better late than never. So today is day 3 of the market prep challenge. I did lives for day 1 and day 2. Day 1 I did chickens. Yesterday I did a whole ton of bees. I made 19 bees in one day, which I'm pretty sore, so. I haven't made my seahorse out of plush yarn yet, but now I want to, now that you say that. What colors did you use for the seahorse? So I recently bought this ball of black yarn, and didn't notice it until I started working with it, but it's so much stiffer than most of the plush yarn I've worked with so far. I don't know if anyone else has experienced it, but it's like not as soft. It's driving me a little crazy. I was going to use some scrap black yarn, but I forgot to look for it before I started, so we're using the stiffer stuff, but it makes these bobble stitches really hard to make. Mint and lavender, that sounds really pretty. You're also market prepping. What are you market prepping? Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be so bad if all the yarn was like that, and then I could size up my hook. But it's not like that with all yarn, just certain yarn. I used to notice that with acrylic yarn, certain colors would be thicker and like harder to work with, but with the plush yarn, I haven't really noticed like a specific color that has that issue. It's just every once in a while a ball of yarn will have that issue. So it's pretty funny because I think most people probably wouldn't even notice until they start working with it. Most people who don't crochet with it probably wouldn't even notice it at all, but dinos are super popular. Are you making like mini dinos or like big dinos? I have some sleeping dinos on my table and then some standing dinos, but I don't have any like little dinos. Maybe that's the next thing I should make. I'm curious to know what your guys' favorite thing to crochet is. And I don't mean like something that sells well at markets, just something that you really like making. I have a really hard time deciding what my favorite thing to make is. I think I really like it when I make things in big batches like this. But then sometimes I'm a little burnt out, so I don't really like it that much. But like yesterday I made 19 bees, and it was just really cool to see them all together, and that's like my favorite part of market prepping a lot of items all at once. I think I'm currently really loving making my sleepy looking pieces. My most recent patterns that have come out. Yeah, I've only sold big dinos at my markets. They've done pretty well. I find that the green one is always the one that sells. Even if none of them sell, it will be the green one that sells. I have a pretty funny story to tell. So yesterday I did my live and I was talking with some people in the chat, and somebody mentioned that the most frustrating thing about working with this yarn is when you close up the bottom and it snaps. And I was like, oh, I actually haven't had that happen to me a lot. I think I've had it happen just a couple of times, and mostly with when I'm like securing the center end, the magic ring or the chain 2. And I like to secure that to make sure it's not going anywhere. But I was making bees last night, and I was like super close to bed, which I probably shouldn't have been crocheting. But I was closing the bottom hole up, and then I pulled, and I was like, the chain 1 didn't really close like it normally does. So I pulled it even harder and snapped the whole end off. And I was like, I guess I shouldn't have said anything about it not happening that often to me, because it happened. Hey, Faith! Ooh, I don't use specialty eyes, but seeing everyone's specialty eyes makes me want to use them. Rainbow glitter eyes sound gorgeous. Yeah, when I had the yarn snap, I had to take out a couple stitches and join new yarn on, and it was easier than I thought it would be, but so disappointing because it was like the last bee that I was working on. All I had to do was sew it closed and then I snapped it. Yeah, I was actually working with some of that stiffer yarn I was talking about earlier. I think that's probably why the chain one I made wouldn't close like it normally does. Kind of got hooked on itself. Is the Posh yarn the smaller yarn? I don't think I've tried it before. I have some Big Twist Plush on hand. I noticed that it's a heavier yarn, so I haven't really been working with it, but I have not tried Posh. Yeah, I think I saw it in store, but I didn't get any because I've been trying not to spend a whole lot of money on yarn, as I'm sure we all are. But that does make me want to buy it. I like the plushy yarn, the Chanel yarn, but I would like something that would last longer for wear and tear. I imagine that stuff made with the Chanel yarn is going to fall apart a lot faster than something else made with like a blanket yarn. I absent-mindedly closed this hole and I was supposed to crochet the tail on first, so guess that's what I get for talking while crocheting. That's alright though. Is it easy to work with? Like, does it like get hooked on itself, kind of like the burnout blanket does? Or it's like sticky almost? I like the Chanel yarn because it slides, but Ooh, that makes me want to try it even more. Got one possum done. Everything is going to need the sticky roller because there's stuffing on everything. Now that I'm thinking about it, I went to Joann's, but I didn't actually touch it. So maybe if I had touched it, I might have changed my mind and got some. What's your favorite yarn you've used so far? So far, I'm really in love with the Skinny Chanel by Loops and Threads. I just recently found it in my Michaels, and I absolutely love how tiny it is. I really love working with like a... You are a bad yarn influencer. That's okay though. I will use the yarn though. It won't go to waste. But yeah, that Skinny Chanel, I really like it. I used to work with size 4 velvet. And I like it. I don't really like the shine as much. Alright. When I go to Joann's next, I'll touch it. I'll get some. Oh, do you guys know where I could find like a really nice brown? I have such a hard time finding brown. Ooh. Same ones as yesterday? Or different ones? Or were you working on frogs yesterday? I'm sorry, can't keep track. So stiff. Hey, my awesome pattern tester. I'm working on the pattern you tested, so thank you. Are you making the little turtles from Refined Vibes? Or are they different turtles? Yeah, I don't know why the brown yarn is such a struggle. Makes me sad. Yeah, I think on certain projects velvet looks okay, but I kind of like it when the project's more dull, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so. Yeah, I saw the mini ones. She said they were selling really well. I need to check out the pattern because they're really cute. I have a mini turtle pattern, but it is like a 25-minute project, 30-minute project. If I can make something even smaller, even faster, that would be really cool. What is everyone's best seller at markets? For me, my best seller is my mini bin. So my mini bin has just a bunch of random things that take about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to make. Charge $6 for one or 2 for 10. That is my most popular item. It doesn't make me the most money, but it does give people an option if they don't have, a lot of money to spend. But I find that the little kids really love to dig through a basket and find something that they love. I think snakes are a good sell. I make like a foot-long snake out of the baby velvet. Take about an hour to make, charge $15 for them, and they sell pretty well. Dinos, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, I don't usually buy patterns either, but I don't think I'd be mad about buying a pattern like that. They probably sell pretty well. Yeah, the mini bin is really cool. I mean, it's done me a lot. It's done me well. Made a lot of sales through it. Usually, some of the things that end up in the mini bins are like small pattern tests. So I'll do a pattern test with the size 3 or the size 4 yarn. And then if I don't want to price it separately because it's going to be the only item on the table, then I'll just put it in the mini bin. And since they're pattern tests, I wasn't specifically making them for a market, but I still don't want to keep them. So then I made a whole bunch of the mini possums for the mini bin. Made my chicken pattern with size 4 yarn, the size 4 Chanel yarn. Super cute. So I'm really filling up those baskets this time. And then the rest are like sea creatures. So everything from my 12 days Christmas challenge, those are all in there. So turtles, axolotls, crabs. I should make some more crabs. The turtles are definitely one of the best sellers. I had a little girl come up and buy like 4 of them. Come up to my table 3 times to get 4 different turtles from the mini bin. Do any of you make big projects for your markets, like in like the $60 to $100 price range? I actually have quite a few this time for my upcoming market because I've been designing more patterns. So my big unicorn, big dragon. I was thinking of designing a giant elephant to go with the baby one that's going to come out soon. I think that one would probably be pretty popular. That's really cool. Good for you. I definitely recommend keeping expectations pretty low. My first few markets were pretty terrible, and I remember being really defeated, but I'm sure your stuff is absolutely gorgeous, so you'll find the target market sooner or later. Yeah, the chickens are pretty good. I've heard some people say that chickens don't sell well for them, and I always remind myself in my head that not everything sells the same in different areas. And even when my chickens do sell well at some markets where I live, they don't really sell well at others, so that's kind of where the expectation should be a little bit lower. Yeah, I've had possums and chickens sell really well. And I've only had a couple cows at markets, but I have made more for my more recent markets, so we shall see if they sell well. Yay, the possum pattern is no-sew, so works up pretty fast. A lot of my testers said that theirs sold really well, and they only had the pattern for like 3 days when they said that, so I'm definitely excited to see how well these sell. I usually have a more expensive version. They're about this size, but they were made with baby velvet, which takes up a lot more time for about the same size. That's why I decided to design these two, so I could sell them at a cheaper price. But yeah, we're gonna see. You should definitely try a crochet market. It is a lot of work and a little stressful, but once you do your first one, I think you'll be hooked. It is really addicting just to see everyone and how happy they are, and you might have a few bad experiences with customers, but just gotta be water off a duck's back and keep going, not let it hurt your feelings. But they're definitely really enjoyable, and I would recommend not doing a whole bunch of markets all at once because you'll stress yourself out. But then after your first one, I think you'll want to keep doing it. Yeah, the atmosphere is really amazing. Just make sure to keep your expectations in line with the market. If it isn't like a super popular market or it's not very expensive, your sales might be lower, which is fine. You're still getting your name out there. That's one of the hard things for me to overcome, is keeping the expectations where they need to be and not where I want them to be. But once you get the hang of that, you'll enjoy markets a lot more. And spring markets and summer markets aren't necessarily going to do well either. So keep that in mind. Sounds like a big cow you have, 19 inches. Yeah, I think cows and chickens are probably going to be pretty popular where I live. I'm going to a huge festival in Kentucky, so I'm going to be doing horses. Lots and lots of horses. And the market is before the Kentucky Derby too, which is pretty cool. It's not really a market, it is a festival. I didn't make a horse until very recently too, so I guess they're just not as popular depending on where you live. I'm actually going to be doing a tester call soon for my horse, so keep an eye out for it. It's on Instagram. I've named her Hazel the Horse. It'll probably be coming out tomorrow or the next day, the tester call. Here's another possum done. 4 done, and then 8 left. I was thinking about starting these earlier today and I got distracted, so I didn't. But here we are. Ooh. Well, I'm going to make sure I follow you because I want to see what you're making. I mean, you talked about that seahorse and your cow. I want to see it all. My Facebook page isn't very big. I haven't been on there very long, but I figured I should make one, and I did. So I started on Instagram, and I actually like it more, but I might be biased because I started on Instagram. I've had a couple people ask me how I do so well on Instagram, and I'm almost at 4,000 followers, which is super cool. And I don't post regularly, which I find funny. I just post when I want, and recently I've been posting tester calls and pattern releases. So, but my Instagram gained all those followers when I posted my axolotl pattern for free on there. It went viral. I mean, kind of viral, I guess. I can't remember how many accounts it reached, but lots and lots of accounts. But yeah, I don't like do anything in particular. It just happened because I released a free pattern. Yeah, I should probably focus on actually having a schedule for social media, but right now the only thing is that I post every Monday, unless there's a delay on YouTube, and I think that's the only thing I have for a schedule. I don't know, I just kind of like crocheting more than posting on Instagram, so that's what I do. I crochet, and then if I have a project to show off, then I'll go on Instagram, but do you guys like crocheting things like factory style, so one part at a time and then make a whole group of them? Or do you like to make one item and finish it and then start another one? I think for items like my possums and the bees I did yesterday, I like doing it factory style. But then like for bigger projects, I just like to finish it. Since it takes so long already, I just want to see the finished piece before making another one. Yeah, it's much more enjoyable to do it factory style and then they're all done. You get to look at them all instead of like one at a time. But then it's like you don't have to switch colors until all of them are ready to switch colors. So that's pretty cool. I always look back at when I do the factory style. So yesterday I made 17 bees. And I always look back and I'm like, I don't know how I sat through and I finished all 17 bees yesterday. It just like blows my mind that I was able to do that. But then like, I don't make them one at a time. I do it factory style and it feels like they're being done faster. We'll watch Crochet by Jenna and she does all those turtles. I'm like, I don't know how she's not bored. She makes all those fins. It's like, looks so boring to me that, but then like if I think about it and if I'm doing it, it's probably not as boring. Probably pretty satisfying. What's the most of one item you've made in one sitting? Or like had at one time? I think yesterday I beat my record with 17 in one day. But it did take me like 8 hours to do that, so. I don't think I've tried that with smaller items though, like the little octos or the turtles. I should probably try that and see how many I can make in a day. Yeah, I didn't really get introduced into the factory style until I started being on Instagram and watching more YouTube, just trying to catch up with the other crocheters and see what's happening. And I was like, wait a minute, you could do things like that? And yeah, I've been enjoying that. My chickens, a little bit different of a pattern. You finish the piece before you close it. Which kind of takes away from the factory style. But here's the thing, I really like being able to close the project with all the tails on the inside instead of having to tuck ends in for a no-sew pattern, which I don't think counts as a no-sew pattern if you have to tuck in 8 ends when you're finished, which is what I wanted to avoid with this possum pattern because I don't like tucking in ends. It's almost more tedious than sewing things on. I think that's why people really like the Mabel chicken though. Guess you can just pump out all the bodies and then do the details later. But I don't know. I really like being able to tuck things in on the inside and not have to actually use a needle and tuck it in. Do you guys have any projects you're working on or projects you've seen that you really want to try and haven't done yet? So I was talking to someone on Instagram and she showed me this adorable Loch Ness monster, there you go, pattern, free on Ravelry. I just had my eye on it since she messaged me because now I want to make it. But I know I have to market prep for the market prep challenge, so I've just been waiting. But yeah, that's one of the projects I really want to work on. I want to make a giant elephant using my style. But I'm kind of avoiding designing patterns right this second because I'm trying to market prep. Designing patterns takes a lot more time than just crocheting something based on a pattern. I guess that's true. Sewing in the end afterward would help it. I like to make sure everything's tied on the inside. But yeah, I can see that on certain things. Well, the baby dragon doesn't take too long, and it's perfect for markets, so if you ever need an excuse, there's a good one. If you're gonna make my baby dragon, what size yarn do you think you'll use for it? I've made it with size 4 and size 6. They've both turned out really cute. Ooh, a realistic looking Sasquatch. How big does she want it? Or he, I don't know who your son's teacher is, but that sounds really cool though. There's definitely a project. Have any of you made a crochet project out of sewing thread or size 1 superfine yarn? I've made a couple of them. I don't hate the way they turn out, but I also found that they turn out pretty stiff. I was using the cotton blend, which I guess is stiffer than other yarn. Yeah, the size 4 turns out super cute. It's like perfect keychain size. Well, a little bigger than a keychain size, but still really cute. I did it out of like a size 4 Chanel with some variegated colors, so like a rainbow. They're super cute with size 4 yarn. Okay, I'm gonna get some posh yarn, okay? You don't have to keep talking about it and make me want it more. I bet there's some Sasquatch patterns out there. I haven't personally looked it up before, but That definitely sounds like a cool project though. Where's your favorite place to crochet? I tend to crochet either on the couch in my living room and watch TV, or at my desk, which is where we're at now. But I find that my chair is kind of uncomfortable, so I've recently been really enjoying crocheting while sitting on my bed. I know it's not like the healthiest thing you should be doing, but I just kind of been enjoying that. At the park sounds really nice. We live in a place with an absurd amount of bugs, so I'd probably freak myself out. Weirdest place I've ever crocheted in a restaurant, maybe? At the DMV, I've done that before. I don't think anywhere else. Well, if you find some really nice brown yarn, which is hard to find, you might be able to make a Yeti into a Sasquatch. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I've tried to work with embroidery floss. Here's the thing, I tried to separate it to make it thinner, and yeah, that was a whole nightmare. It was I'll just stick with the little size 1 cotton rolls, whatever they're called. See, I like making the minis sometimes, but I find that they really hurt my hands. Like, the first time I tried it, I could barely pick up my water cup after crocheting the next day. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because I've been crocheting for a long time and I haven't had something like that happen. So, do you have the weirdest place you've ever crocheted? Mine's pretty lame, but yeah, I can't think of any place weird that I've crocheted. I mean, I've crocheted in the car, restaurant, and then the DMV, but I don't know. I can't think of anywhere else. Ooh, a fairy. That's really cool. I have not crocheted on water before. We used to live kind of near the ocean, kind of near a lake. But that was before I was really into crocheting like I am now, so haven't tried that. Oh, I forgot to secure my ears. Whoops. How often do you use stitch markers? That's what I'm curious about. I was having a conversation with two of my friends in our group chat on Instagram, and one of them was saying that she can't go without stitch markers. And then the other one was saying, I think she said it depends on the project. I didn't want to say anything, but I don't need a stitch marker at all. And the only reason I use a stitch marker is so I don't have to remember where the beginning of the round is, but I don't have to count the rounds either. And I was kind of thinking about filming a video on how you can tell where the beginning of the round is without having to count anything. Because I've seen people on Instagram talk about tearing out their work because they forgot what round they were on. And I was like, but I know how to tell that without using a stitch marker and without counting. But I've also been crocheting for a really long time, so maybe it just comes with experience. So, do you guys use stitch markers? And if I do use stitch markers, I'll usually like leave them behind instead of replacing them every round. But I don't know. I had to use stitch markers with white velvet because I can't see the stitches in white velvet, but I think like any other yarn, Yeah, I like the stitch markers because I don't have to think when using them, but then like I don't actually need them. It was kind of a little surprising. Yeah, that's what I do. Just to keep track of the store, and then I'll like crochet around them and leave them where they are. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot more people talking about how they use stitch markers, or they don't know where the beginning of the round is unless they tear back to an increase or decrease round. I was like, but you can just look at it. I don't know if it's just me. But yeah, now I'm interested. I'm just interested to see if anyone else has any issues with it. I just decreased and then single crochet for 2 rounds in a row instead of decreasing. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Okay, I'm just going to try and get this tail on, and then this will be the last possum, so see how long this takes me. I'll finish the rest on my own later today. I keep checking to see if the music stopped. Every time it starts playing again. And the last possum in this live is done. I have to do 6 more off the live, which I kind of expected because it did take a little bit longer. But 6 possums done is really good in my opinion. Let's see, tomorrow is day 4 of the market prep challenge, but I don't think I'll be able to do a live because I have some birthdays that I need to prep for and shopping and stuff. So today's probably the last day of the live, but I will be planning to do more of these in the future. So thank you all for sticking around, and thank you for talking with me. It really is awesome to talk to other crocheters. None of my family members crochet. I'm the only one in my household who does, so it's really good to talk to other people and get their opinions, relate to, especially on yarn struggles. So thank you all, and I will see you in my next live. Well, I don't know when, but in my next live. So bye. You have a wonderful day too, every one of you.